Hello and welcome to this lesson on the different characters that are in Hamlet and the different relationships, that are in the play. And on this page you're going to find a long list, let me zoom out, of all the different relationships that are in the play and what happens in those relationships and whether they're positive or negative relationships. And this is a very important section because if we go back for a moment, back to our introduction, in which it shows you the different questions that come up. Every year there are questions on relationships. So it could be, what type of relationship does Claudius and Hamlet have? Or what type of relationship does Ophelia have with everybody else? Or Laertes and Hamlet, or Gertrude and Hamlet, or Polonius and Ophelia, or Hamlet and Gertrude, or Ophelia and Hamlet, or Polonius' relationship with his children. They are all relationships that come up. It's a very, very popular question. So in your one notebook, in this notebook, in the relationships tab, you will find the different relationships broken down. So let's take a quick look at Claudius and Gertrude. What type of relationship did they have? Well, Gertrude is trusting of Claudius, and there's an example there. And then there's a quote to back it up. Claudius loves Gertrude to a certain extent. There's an example there, and then there's a quote. And Gertrude protects Claudius, and there's an example there and a quote. And that repeats itself for all of the different relationships. So there's Claudius and Hamlet. There is Hamlet and Laertes. There is Polonius and Laertes, Hamlet and the Ghost, Gertrude and Hamlet, Hamlet and Ophelia, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern and Claudius, Hamlet and Horatio, Hamlet and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, Polonius and Ophelia, Laertes and Ophelia. So as many relationships as possible are on this page, explained, broken down, and the quotes that back them up are given as well. A very important page in this notebook because relationship questions come up again and again. Now, as I was making this little page, I thought to myself, which of these relationships are actually positive relationships, in which both people, or three people, if it's a three-people relationship, have each other's interests at heart fully. And there's not many of them, because Claudius and Gertrude, they have their problems. You know, at the end of the day, Claudius allows Gertrude to poison herself and doesn't stop her from doing it. Claudius and Hamlet are clearly enemies. I'll cut to the chase. The only real positive and honest relationship in this play is the one between Hamlet and Horatio. Now, that has never been asked in the Leave Insert before, the relationship between Hamlet and Horatio. So it would be nice to focus on some of the ones that haven't been asked before when you're looking over this little page. So you go back to your first page and you take a look at what has come up in the past. You imagine that Claudius and Hamlet, seeing as how it came up in 2017, that, you know, maybe they might not ask it again, but you never know. So focus on the ones that have been asked before and look at the ones that haven't been asked before and go over the ones as well, go over all of them and make sure you have a firm grasp of the relationships and the quotes that go with them. Now, I know these quotes can be long, but I put them in there for, you know, if you did focus in on a few of these relationships, it's no harm to have these quotes, because at the end of the day, you're not really expected to learn a lot of quotes in the comparative section. But in this section, the single text, you are supposed to know your text quite in depth. So you need to have, you know, a bank of quotes there to go into that exam with, so that you're able to answer the questions and support your answer with reference to the text. And that's code for have a few quotes. Okay? So take a look at that, get to know it, and use it. Use it to answer the questions that are in that introduction page, because all of the questions that have been asked before are here, laid out in front of you. And if you zoom in and look then at the relationship questions, so there's a first one. Describe the relationship between Claudius and Hamlet, and support your answer with reference to the text, with quotes. If you attempted to answer that question, you would go back to that page again. You would find the Hamlet and Claudius section. There it is there, Claudius and Hamlet. And you would look and use this to help you answer this question. Okay? And the same goes for any of the other questions that have come up. Okay, I hope it's of some use.